Good evening, everybody. This is the Opinion Guy. I am Charles I. Guarria, broadcasting just minutes away from the world's most famous beach, Daytona Beach in Daytona Beach, Florida. And yes, I kicked the wire under my chair, which is why my laptop did this just a second ago. But that's what live shows do. They kick wires under chairs and make things go haywire. See what I did there? Yeah, we got a lot to cover here this evening. We were just going over that, and of course we added more stuff like we always do. We are going to go over around the world and do all kinds of things, including some sports, and I will catch you up on what happened last week. So I am going to get everybody on right now. We have a pinch hitter, and he shall be coming on first, and his name is Gabe Wozniak. Gabe is pinch hitting for Joe Hanush. What's going on there, Gabe? Let me bring up the rest of the crew. He is back after a 1 week layoff in Ohio. Probably listened to a lot of the Pretenders while he was away. That is John Navarra. John is back. And in the Democratic seat and over in the conservative Republican seat is the host of No Soundbites Allowed, Michael Vass Vasquez. The crew is in the house. How's it going, gentlemen?
Doing well. And remember that doing comedy is not your day job.
That is beautiful.
It's night.
But it's night.
It's allowed.
My early evening job. Oh man, I am actually a laugh riot, Michael. It just goes right over your head.
The haywire? No, that was under the table. Definitely.
Yeah, but you like when I said break a leg. That was a good one. I like when you went, kids, break a leg isn't an insult.
No, yeah, but like they know. I can see them now. Okay, I guess I gotta break your leg. No, you idiot.
Anyway. Break your leg. Anyway.
We still talking about the UFC fight?
Huh?
We still talking about the UFC fight?
The UFC on the White lawn, on the White House lawn.
Oh, the McGregor one from Saturday.
No, I
didn't watch it. No.
I don't watch that.
No,
I don't
broke a
pay
leg?
attention to sports. Sports
Oh,
mean
man.
nothing to me. Other than the World Cup. World Cup, that I pay attention to. The rest of it, I don't care.
Yeah. Speaking of the World Cup, Argentina's playing England. And I don't follow sports other than baseball, but will be rooting for Argentina because they have the world's first libertarian president.
Oh boy, look at that excitement about Millet. Oh boy. But anyway, talking about Argentina, everyone else is excited because they're a damn good soccer team. And if you remember, I told you my two choices for taking the cup were Argentina and Germany.
You did.
Germany got knocked out over I don't know what stupidity happened there. But Argentina is in the quarterfinals, and I predict Argentina will beat England 3-2. It'll be a close match. It'll be an exciting match. But Argentina will pull it out probably in the second half. And we'll see Argentina hopefully go up against Spain because screw the French. I hate the French. Not so well, I hate Paris. I hate the French government. The rest of the French people are okay. But take out Paris, take out Macron, and, it's a much better place. So I want Spain to win. I want Spain versus Argentina and Argentina to kick Spain's ass. That's what I want to see happen. And that, I think, Argentina could beat Spain 2-1. These are my predictions.
All right.
Clip it, folks. Bet on it. It's going to happen.
Woo! All right. Well, I tell you what, you seem to pick who's going to win and lose like I do. You hate the French, so you want them to lose. I love Javier Milei. I want him to win. So as good as anything.
I feel that as well. I lost money on McGregor this weekend.
You did?
Yeah. Well, I know you didn't see the fight, but
I know nothing about it.
He throws out one kick, he busts his ACL, and then he's fighting from the ground until the ref says, like, "Oh yeah, his leg's awful. Let's get him out of here." TKO.
All right.
Who's Conor McGregor?
As long as you want money.
Who is he?
What is this, Jeopardy?
I have no idea who you're talking about. You've heard of Argentina. You've heard of soccer. I have no idea who Conor McGregor is.
I would bet money there's more people in America who've heard of Conor McGregor than Argentina.
And I guarantee you there's more people in the world
That's
who know
wrong.
about the World Cup than know about either America or Conor McGregor.
That is true. The World Cup's huge. But it's funny because when Mexico and the U.S. lost and we're knocked out, I heard ticket prices is completely dropped. So why do I keep on hitting the wire back here? Holy smokes. Folks, what can I tell you? There's a lot going on, and the wire is the least of my concerns. And I guess I should really fill people in because if you were watching last week, I did attempt to have the show. I knew at any moment Donna's mother was going to pass, but you never know when. And we were trying to get the show in, and we had to kind of cancel it early. And a lot of people have come out and well wishes to both Donna and myself on social media, and of course in person, all the folks coming by and wishing us well. Generally speaking, until this show, I was a very private person and didn't tell everybody all the crazy stuff that may or may not be going on in my life. I kind of ran my life like a communist country. The only things people needed to know was what I wanted them to know. But it's obviously a little bit different when you're in the middle of the show and you got to go. So we're still working out, not me, Donna and her sister are working out, funeral arrangements. But I can tell you, folks, it did not end there. And I hinted at that last week. We have had so much craziness going on, enough to last, in a year, you wouldn't have people being rushed to hospital, dogs that we sat that are family dogs dying. We had to go to a funeral this week for a dog. Another one's terminally ill. Somebody broke their foot just yesterday in the family. It's just been going on and on and on. So it's been kind of rough in that regard. But Mike can appreciate this, that military training, and of course you don't have to be in the military to do this. You're just like, put my head down, work, just keep going, and try to make things as best you can. So that's where we're at with that. And again, thanks to everybody for asking how we're doing and all the well wishes. But it's been a crazy 2 weeks, and I might even say a crazy year, in ways that are never would have thought of on January 1st. But that's where we are right now, and thanks for all your support. I want to go around the table here. We're going to start with Gabe as our pinch hitter for Joe Hanush and get campaign updates. So what's going on with you and your campaign?
I have a few events coming up. This Thursday, I'm going to a Pride Forum in DeLand at the Abbey. So,
okay.
Yep, going to be talking about gay stuff as well as normal political stuff. Saturday, we got a forum with a bunch of different candidates at the Republican Assembly of Brevard County.
Uh-huh.
And August 1st, I just accepted another forum today. Nice. I got to go back on that one, but yeah, I did that this morning.
Okay, so all these the times of these events can be found on your website. Where can people go to actually find the times and the exact locations of where you're going to be? I
kind of just confirmed them all at once between yesterday and today, so I got to do that still today. I mean, unlike most people running for office, I have a full-time job, so
yeah,
got to make time.
All right. Okay, great. Well, when you do get, if you get a minute to actually send the times, I'll make sure to get them out to everybody. So my followers.
I'll tell you what, on Thursday at the Land's Abbey, I'll be there from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock, I believe it is.
Okay, great. That's awesome. And for folks,
5 to 8.
Yeah, they invited me too. So 5 to 8.
Are you going, John?
Yeah.
Oh wow! Look at that. Half the crew is going to this event. That's awesome. So listen, for folks who don't know, DeLand is like Daytona Beach obviously is east because it's near the ocean, obviously. So west on the opposite side of the county is where DeLand is, called West Volusia. It's a really cool place, great main street, fantastic Cuban restaurant if you're down that way, called Chica's. It is great food. So yeah, good. All right, have time. Have good. That's a good one. And you know the time in that one, so that's good. Thursday's coming up, and that's the most important one to get people out too. John's going to be there as well. And John, what else is going on with your campaign?
Oh, I met with the chamber, doing all the different groups. I meet with
the chamber of where? Where are you running? Tell the people where you're running.
Daytona Beach, Daytona Beach City Commission.
Okay.
So I met with the Daytona Beach Chamber, and they interviewed me. And I meet with the realtors tomorrow. I met with them the last time I ran, along with the chamber. And I meet with the builders on Thursday in the morning.
The builders. Okay, hold on 1 second. What do you mean by the builders?
The people who build houses, the builders.
Oh, you mean the real estate developers?
Yeah, my brother was the president at one point.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So you're making the rounds, kind of like land handing with all these different organizations. Last Monday night you gave a speech. Was that at one of these events?
Yeah, that was Monday night. Was Alex Vindman running for Senate? Okay, and so he came to my friend's church, and a lot of candidates were there, and so we got about 2 minutes, and then he spoke. So he's running for U.S. Senate against Ashley Moody.
Okay, alrighty, and you will be at Daytona Beach City Hall on Wednesday night, correct? Yeah. John can see if people read the scroll that I have going pretty much throughout the entire show. John's a boots on the ground guy. He and I are typically, if not sitting side by side at the Daytona Beach City Commission meetings, we're right next to each other pretty much throughout the whole thing, BSing and following along in what is the craziness of the Daytona Beach City Commission. Yeah. But it would be less crazy if John was on that, as well as anybody else who comes on my show. You guys just need to vote for the people who come on my show.
Who are you running against, John? Quinita May?
No, Monica Paris.
Oh, you're running against Monica?
Yeah.
Oh man, she's great. I tell you what, I used to teach with her and her husband, and I was just like, man, these people have what it takes. Like, they can lead a city.
I had no idea she was married all this time. I've known her for years.
No, I was just kidding because of the last time.
What?
Nothing.
John, because of the last time? Yeah.
Hey, John.
Oh, remember when I came on to promote my event and he brought up Judy out of nowhere? I was just joking.
No. Sorry.
John.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Alex Vindman, the traitorous guy who got kicked out of the military because he provided false information about Donald Trump and the Ukraine call hoax? Is that the guy?
We see it running in a different light, but that would be him.
Well, no, it's a fact that the Ukraine phone call was a hoax. That's been debunked. That's not a question. That was 2019. That's a fact. He was in the military. That caused him to lose his position, and he was effectively kicked out of the military and his position in the U.S. government because of him lying about a president. That's a fact. I consider the thing that isn't a fact is I consider that to be treasonous, but you could say it's not treasonous, but he factually fabricated information trying to implicate a president for the purpose of political agenda and partisan advancement. So, yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was thinking about the same person. He's trying to get elected and people want to vote for that scum. Okay.
Hey, Oliver North ran. He ran to Virginia.
Well, he's an American. More power to him. He deserves to have his opportunity. I hope that he loses like the scum that he is. But that's my opinion.
Woo! That's why I like Mike. He never holds back on his opinion. So So let's see. Let's get some comments going here. We got Mike. Interesting topic to bring up. Dems have a problem getting male voters. So now they're running all these men, like a truck driver, a firefighter, former real
turkey hunter.
A turkey hunter? Okay, I don't know who the turkey hunter is.
There's a
man,
Navy
I hunt
SEAL.
turkeys.
All right. And then
Could
John
be.
goes on, do you think that the resume of the candidates are the problem, or do you think that it's the policy that Democrats propose the problem with getting male votes? You know what I think it is? I'll tell you right now, John. It's because the Democratic Party, more than the Republican Party, likes to knock men, right? I mean, as a society, we knock men all the time, particularly white men, because white men were in charge. So everything that goes wrong is been their fault throughout history, as if, you know, any other race or gender were in charge and it wasn't white men for hundreds of years, we would be in like nirvana. No, there would be problems then too, because the depravity of man or humans doesn't go away based on skin color or based on race. So yeah, white men were in charge and a lot of bad things happened. But you know what else? White men were in charge and a lot of good things happened. That's called being human. And no matter who is in charge, that would have happened. But Democrats, by and large, like to knock men and make and you know, they'll do things like they'll have a best of women under 30 in business. But that same magazine that leans left won't have best of men under 30 in business. Gee. And then you wonder why men are so freaking aggressive in this society. Oh yeah, because they're told not to be aggressive, even though it's in their genes. Yeah, don't be you. Okay, that's the answer, John. But I think he was asking you, Mike, if you want to take a shot at it.
Well, I would obviously, John, and I mean John R., the commenter, you've hit on a point.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a problem with the Democratic Party. But as I've said before, and I've said this directly to our good friend, John Navarra, here on the panel, it's because the Democratic Party is in a shift, a transition of power. Who's in control? You're looking at the Democratic Socialists and the progressive wings of the Democratic Party, which are about 21% of the party, are in the process of taking it over. That's fine. That's normal process that happens over time. The problem is that the progressives and the Democrats, the Democratic Socialists, are such extremist left-wing nut jobs. It leaves everyone off, and it causes this disruption because nothing they want matches the society that has been built up for 250 years in America. And I feel bad for a lot of Democrats, including my good friend John Navarra, who may disagree with me on this. That's fine. But I feel bad for Democrats because they're being boxed out of their own party. And the reason why the Democratic Socialists are in their party, the reason why the progressives are in their party, is because their ideas, or the progressives and socialists, their ideas would not survive outside the infrastructure created by Democrats like John, who worked very hard to push their ideology and to try and better America without destroying America. But the socialists and progressives wanted to destroy America. They used the infrastructure to advance their agenda in a way they couldn't do naturally. So that's why you're seeing this anti-men are toxic stupidity, which the public generally and widely rejects. Sadly, that's going to hurt Democrats in the 2026 midterm elections. But I open it up to John Navarra. If you think anything I've said there that I'm misrepresenting or I've misunderstood, I'm happy to hear that because, you know, fair is fair. And I'm sure. And
yeah, John,
Republicans got problems too.
John,
Yeah, I have something.
John, I want. Hold on. 1 second. I was going to ask you, John. We could start here. Do you think that the party that you are a member of knocks men in general?
Well, I think that I have seen it, especially going into party activities and stuff like that, even that personally. I don't think that we've opened to men as much as we should. But what I see is a lot of people who are the leaders in the Democratic Party, maybe not in the whole country, but at least locally, which is good, is basically very college educated women seem to be in the lead. And so I don't think for them, I don't see them personally as wanting to knock men. But the thing is, they're going to concentrate on the issues that that are really close to their lives. And that's why you need the diversity, which I think we really do lack, because we don't have men. We don't have people in rural areas. We don't have representation that's, homogenous. And so basically, and I have seen in my district that 70% of the men are Republicans and 45% of the and even for the most Republican precincts I have, 70% of the men are Republicans, 45% of the women, not 70.
Okay.
So the thing is, even in those Republican districts, it is where the women are more Democratic than Republican. The men are definitely Republican. And we've just divided that way. And so, yeah, and I see some stuff like even Ashley Moody, who's running against Vindman, she promoted, which isn't a bad thing. She was promoting Father's Day big time, but she wouldn't really promote Mother's Day because the Republicans are really going after the male vote. And I see it in a lot of different directions.
All right, back it up 1 second. Vindman is a Democrat and Moody is a Republican, just so people out there know. Correct? Okay, great. Yeah. Now I got to ask you a question. You did say, and I think I got it verbatim, that you don't think we, the Democratic Party, are open to men as much as we should be. What would you do if you could pull the levers in the Democratic Party of Volusia County to make them more open? Where are they failing, and what would you do to make them more open to men?
Okay. I actually brought this up last Tuesday with the Florida Democratic Party, which I am a state committee man. And what I said was, do we have any farm policy? Do we have any policies for which is also maybe not men, but we're giving up on certain issues like rural areas, males. We are kind of going after the female vote more than the male vote. And there are a lot of, female organizations, which isn't bad, which is good. It is good to have different organizations, but they have to be kind of balanced maybe with organizations that men have also. So there are a lot of women's clubs, but then again, there are some men's clubs I see in the Republican Party in the county. But the thing is, we need to attract more male voters because then you can't really win. So I think it is a difficulty, and I think it's trying to reach out. And I think that's what the issue is, trying to reach out to the because we keep doubling down on the voters we have. And that's basically college educated females. That's really the heart of the Democratic Party, what there is of it in Volusia County. And so, and as interesting here too, they said and I've seen these statistics, I don't think they're wrong. And they're supposed to be the statistics, not statistics I made up, but this thing that shows who voted for whom. When Clinton was president, the top half richer part of America voted more Republican than Democratic. And now in the last election, Biden and also for Harris, that the bottom half of incomes in America voted Republican, top half voted Democratic. Because
that seems to be getting away from the men-women issue. Hold on, you're getting away from the men-women issue. You're going into haves and have-nots. I don't want to do that. I want to stick to the topic. So I want to bring Gabe in. Gabe, do you think that society has overcorrected? Because there is no doubt that men were let's just focus on American society. There was no doubt that men were, the kings of the castle and were still the hunters, whether it was turkeys or something out, and the women would stay home. And a correction was needed, right? Women couldn't vote, and all that kind of stuff. So they were, to a certain extent, in servitude, to a certain extent, lesser than in certain ways, economically. Did we as a society overcorrect to try to promote women, which needed to happen at the expense of men? Yes or no, Gabe?
Absolutely. Like you said, we primarily come from a hunter-gatherer standpoint. Men go out hunt, women gather, and we sort of evolved from there. as you're mentioning from the Democratic platform, it makes it harder and harder to be like a prideful male and a liberal at the same time. And it shouldn't be that way. You should be able to have your own political opinion and not be ashamed to be your gender. For example, like, I think the main thing that does it is that when you identify with a modern Democrat, not like an early 2000s or 90s Democrat, but a modern Democrat, you're basically telling people that you are dependent on government assistance and that there's nothing wrong with being dependent on government assistance. The end goal is to be self-sustaining and be able to run your own life without the government's help. And they make silly mistakes all the time. Do you guys know Olivia Giuliana?
No.
Oh, wait a minute. Isn't that the Democrat spokeswoman who is, she's objectively unattractive. And she was hired by Democrats
I know who you're talking
to
about
draw
now.
in male voters to the Democratic Party. She was given $20 million and abject failed. Is that?
She is a gay, hefty white woman that the Democrats paid big dollar to attract college males. It's like they just don't know what people want. And that is mind-blowing to me. Why can't people just be who they are and hope people accept them? We don't need extra steps. We don't need paychecks. We don't need political parties trying to shove anything down their throat, Republican or Democrat, especially not Libertarian. I'd like to think we're a little better than that. But
it sounds like, John, the DNC, I'm talking Navarra, the DNC needs a little bit more of your input, since you're recognizing the problem and actually addressing it, than what they're actually doing at the moment. Because everyone seems to identify the problem. You're the only one in the DNC that's at any level trying, or any degree, trying to resolve it. So, you need a promotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, John, you being on the show is great because your style of democratic, thinking isn't really being heard a lot. And so it is great. And this is a worldwide audience that we have here. So this is great that you are on here as much as you can be. And I appreciate that, because you're getting out a viewpoint that, I don't know, I'm going to say it's like a 1960s Democrat. Your viewpoint is so much more centrist than what is going on these days in the Democratic Party. I do want to add, Gabe, made the point of hunter-gatherers. I just want to say that if Donna was relying on me to hunt, we'd be eating nuts and berries, because I am very squeamish and I can't kill anything unless it was a matter of life. I'd be pulling, the nuts and berries. What is it? Go hungry?
Get hungry. You will be amazed how things change real quick.
What you guys need is your own Proud Boys, and I'm telling you, Antifa just ain't cutting it.
No, they're not. But
no, they're not.
I don't want to beat up on John. That's why I keep trying to.
No, John's great.
You Democrats need to take along.
John's the exception to the Democratic rule. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's why I keep making the exception. John is, and I know because we've talked to him 20 times now, 30 times that we've had conversations. So I have a very different view of John versus the party, and I want people to make sure, because I don't want to come off too harsh to John, my co-host.
No.
And I don't think I want to make sure that no one misunderstands. I'm critiquing the party, not him. There's a big difference between the two.
Isn't he such a sweetheart, John?
Well,
I like to be nice when I can.
I think too, the one thing that I can kind of see is I'm a, white male coming into the Democratic Party meeting.
Holy smokes, you are.
And I think that because of who you are, you can kind of analyze things, and you can kind of see what clubs there are, what opportunities there are, and stuff like that. And and it seems like, which is strange, because years ago I never thought of it as the Republican Party having more male support, a little bit, but not this much. And then the Democrats having more female support. So it's really polarized, and it's kind of strange. But you have that polarization, and I don't know where it ends up. I mean, basically where,
I know,
and I know that, some females are many females are Republican, many males are Democrat like me. But it is for me, kind of a minority a little bit for my own situation. But it's good to have different voices, and sometimes people may not realize what message you're sending or something.
Yes, I'm going to catch up on some comments here. Death Row Comedy, otherwise known as Anthony Erkett, is out there, and keep up the good work. Thank you, and let us know when you're going to be hitting the stage. He is a comedian, and let us know when you're going to be hitting the stage, man. I want to come out and see you. So just because you hunt turkeys doesn't mean you can't win male votes. I'm shocked.
I still don't know what he's talking about. Who's hunting turkeys? Do you guys know?
Who's hunting turkeys?
No.
John, did you answer that? We'll scroll down and see. I'll scroll down.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out at some point. But
Plattner was the oyster fisherman, not a turkey hunter.
Exactly. You know, but
oyster fisherman. I don't know where the turkeys came from.
I don't know. I got to look that one up because I don't.
I think oyster fishermen are part of the Green Party, actually.
He wants to be now.
I guess there goes our oyster guys.
Well, that's okay because I don't think he was going to win, and he definitely is going to win now. So let him go to the Greens.
Okay. All righty. So speaking of society, I had a topic this evening that I'd like to touch on, and that is the increasing way that America is becoming risk avoidance, that we avoid risk, and are we avoiding risk at like a little bit too high of a level. Now let me bring this up here. I want to show you guys some information. Let me share the screen. Let's see. Let's see. Go here. Gotta go here. Window.
Yes, people, we love how tech savvy Chuck is. He is the tech whiz. Elon is in big trouble.
I am. Well, that's true. I mean, I have to admit that Elon is in trouble. He is.
I'm coming for your day job in comedy. I'm coming.
Hey, Anthony's already got that covered. Don't worry about it.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, well, where is this? There it is. It was just minimized.
Okay. You'll have to explain
guys.
it.
It was just minimized. All right, quick facts about America's increased risk avoidance right here on the screen for all of you to see. We're going to discuss these one by one, but afraid to date, 80% of baby boomers had their first romantic experience by their late teens. 30% of GZ adults, and I highlighted that, late teens for baby boomers, Gen Z adults report never even going out on a romantic date. And I give you the source there. And of course, there are risks involved in that. There's a risk of rejection. There's a risk of embarrassment. There's a risk of heartbreak when you go out. So there's your risk avoidance. And if you dig a little bit deeper, you'll see 90% of 12th graders in the 1980s were going on dates at least occasionally. But by 2024, that number had tanked to nearly 46%. So people are afraid to actually even go out on dates these days. This was a great line from these two folks, Autumn Zioli and Sophie Anderson. Confidence and risk-taking are critical building blocks to a healthy dating culture and more critically to a flourishing society. And I think that's absolutely true. So we are going to, I'm just framing this right now, folks, give everybody an idea of where I'm going with this risk avoidance conversation. And then we're going to break this down the panel one by one. And I'd love to hear comments from the people tuning in this evening. A U Michigan poll 2025 showed that 4 in 10 parents say they get nervous when their child goes too far, too high when playing, too far away, or too high in playing. Though 51% strongly agree that it's healthy for children to take risks, which is still kind of low, 51%. And of course, folks of my age and perhaps Mike, I think John and Gabe, you guys are a little bit younger. We would just like get on our bikes and just go around the neighborhood, like around town. Like our parents weren't afraid at all. And we all survived. Finances, people are taking less and less risks. And our sports reflecting society. Helmets have become mandatory requirements in professional ice hockey in 1979. Up till then, you can get a hockey puck in the head. Nobody thought twice of it. Major League Baseball officially banned home plate collisions starting in 2024. And you can't take out a runner at second base. That started in 2016. And what does this mean for the NFL? I like to go over that too. CTE, 90%, 91%, almost 92% of NFL players get brain damage called CTE, chronic traumatic encephalitis, which is one of the reasons why I stopped watching, because I can't root for people to get brain damage. That's per Boston University poll. So we have all these risk avoidance measures in place. Seatbelt laws started in the 1980s in New York, I believe it was. Up till then, you were free to have your head smashed against the window if you wanted to. And I say that kind of pejoratively, but I believe you should have that right. So this is where we're at in this country. We seem to be more and more interested in avoiding risk and afraid to take chances. So, Michael, I'm going to start with you on the dating one. And what are we doing here as far as this quote? It's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. Is that no longer relevant? Where do you think we are as far as dating in the United States, and how will that affect our society?
So let's clarify. It's not risk avoidance. It's coddling. This is the consequence of both the feminist intersectional movement and coddling our children. And part of that's because we are the superpower of the world and we are the pinnacle of the world. And so we are privileged because we're Americans, not because of race, not because of all the crap that we hear. It's because we're Americans. And we're the most powerful, we're the most free, we're the most rich. We have the most resources all at the same time, which is not a bad thing. That's good. But the problem is, because we have had such advantages, we have allowed a corruption to come in because we're sitting back on our laurels to an extent. We don't have a whole lot of competition. There is literally a cliff, a chasm of difference between the quality of life here in America versus everywhere else. And because of that, that created a comfort zone that allowed corruption, which we see in the academic circles, the liberal academic circles, which is socialism, which is destroying the foundation of America, which is destroying and one of the foundational things is men are men, women are women. It's as basic as it gets. It's foundational. And without that, you don't have babies. You don't have the continuation of the human race, which is one of the reasons between that and feminism, which wants women to emulate men and to compete with men so that they're not actually being women and they're not having children. And the consequence of the feminization and also the corruption of socialism and progressive ideology has divided us on political and personal levels. We have less pair bonding, coupling, marriages, whatever you want to call it. We have less children, and our society is crumbling because of that. It's not risk avoidance. It is indoctrination, and it is coddling, because society is slowly crumbling because the foundations are being destroyed by this corruption, that parents are being parents. They're trying to protect their children as best they can, perhaps even a little bit too much, because it's easy to do in such a great nation as our own, where in other nations, the kid has to go and survive because survival of the jungle. They don't have the resources and capability. We do. And that combines together, which is why the birth rate of America at this time is unsustainable. Our society is falling apart. Gen Beta is smaller than Gen Alpha and also about half the size of Gen Z. That is unsustainable for America. That will be an economic bomb.
Let me sum this up. You're saying that people aren't dating out of risk avoidance; they're dating because of corruption and education. Is that what you said?
I'm saying they've been indoctrinated. I'm saying that they've been
indoctrinated how?
the indoctrination comes from the introduction of feminization as an example of that, and also intersectionality. So as an example of that is there is no such thing. Children are taught today that there are infinite sexes, infinite genders. This is a lie. This is not true. It is detrimental. It is dangerous. And we see that in the result of less people you have less dating, you have less marriages, you have less couples, you have less children.
Gotcha.
That's dangerous. And then you add in, on top of that, the corruption of socialism and progressivism, which seeks to destroy the Constitution and the amendments. They've admitted this. This is not a secret. Just ask anyone in the DSA. They will admit this. This is documented. So, and parents are trying to coddle their kids, saying, I'll protect you, because that's what parents do. All of that combines to a failure point, and we're experiencing.
Okay, John, I'm going to hand this off to you because, once again, I feel like we're picking on you, but once again, your party is the one that favors more than two genders. I wonder where you stand on that. And on the show is perfectly fine if you do, of course. Your freedom of expression and opinion is what the show's all about. And also, do you think feminism is hurting the dating world? Is it part of the problem?
Well, I think a lot of us at school, we guess at it. We don't know for sure. Because it's
you guess at what? I asked you two questions. So you guessed at which one?
We guess at why the children, I teach 12th graders, and I see them in the hallway, and I do see couples in the hallway, but not more than half of them dating, at least as I can view in the hallway.
Okay.
What they do in their own
hold
life.
on. Yeah. So this is great. So you're actually seeing live what the news report that I read described. You're seeing live 12th graders in Volusia County school system in the Daytona Beach. Do you teach in Daytona Beach?
No, I teach in Deltona.
You teach in Deltona. Okay, Deltona is on the western part of the county, folks. It's near DeLand, where we mentioned before.
It should be similar.
So you're seeing in that school that people are not dating. So you're like a boots on the ground visual, and the teachers are getting together and wondering why this is happening.
Well, we have theories. Our big theory, along, is possibly the difference between us and them way back then, us in school and them in school. A big change is the technology. And so a lot of people can use the technology. We don't know if that's true or not, but it's hard to tell with us how come people just aren't dating, or if they are, they're which maybe it's a cultural thing now. They're kind of quiet about it. They may be dating someone, but they don't tell you in the classroom. And the only way to really tell is for us just to know if they're dating is in the hallway and during lunch in the courtyard and stuff like that. Okay. So then
before I bring Gabe in, I just want to ask you your stance on multi genders. They're just, in your opinion, and again, this is free and open exchange of ideas and of opinions. In your opinion, are there just two genders, or are there multiple genders? That was the other part of my question to you.
Well, when I was younger, I just had, thought two genders. I guess they're, but a portion of our population is homosexual. And so
that's still a gender. That's the sexuality, not a gender.
What gender is homosexual?
What's that?
It isn't.
Yeah, but I mean, it opens up to other terms for people.
Okay, but I'm asking, I'm sorry to push on this, but I'm asking you, do you believe that there's more than two or not?
Yeah, there to my cultural world, there seems to be, yes.
Okay. All right, that's fine. No, it's good. I like the free. I want you to be comfortable saying that, and it's great. I'm gonna go, Gabe. I'm gonna go to you on this, the tech part that John brought up, and I'm gonna give my example. All right, Donna is uber religious, and I am not at all. And we met in the late 1980s, right? Well, actually, back then she wasn't uber religious. But if we were dating, if we were on dating apps, and she saw that I had like no religious preference, or that there was nothing about religion in my dating profile, she probably would have just passed me by because she wants somebody, rightfully so, to go to church with her. And there's a pretty good chance that if I saw somebody who was talking a lot about religion, that I would just pass them by in the dating app. So there's an example where tech really does fail in the dating world. I'm not setting that up for you to say that's the case, Gabe. I want to hear your true opinion on that. But P.S., because we're very open-minded, she asked me about that when we got back together early on. And I said, you are the person that I love because you're religious. That made you who you are. So I'm totally fine with it. You know what I mean? So, but we never would have got to that point if we were just looking on a dating app. So tech does play a part to a certain extent. But Gabe, do you think it's a major reason why, or what do you see? How old are you, Gabe?
I'm 31.
Okay, so what do you see in your group of folks who aren't dating as much as me and Mike, and I think maybe John's group did? What are you seeing out there as the reason why? Is it risk avoidance? Is it tech? Is it feminism? And well, that's it. I think I've asked you enough. Go ahead.
Well, hear me out here. I mean, with these dating apps, you have to understand the only people on these dating apps are people willing to use dating apps. And I think a big thing killing the dating industry, if you will, the dating sphere, is that these apps have made it way too incredibly easy to get laid. And people are more or less finding what they need from human connection off of these short-term experiences rather than looking for something more meaningful, like how, dare I say, all of us grew up knowing, to just do it the old-fashioned way, talk to someone, build a relationship organically, and follow up with it as two human beings getting to know each other. It hasn't always been as simple as give each other a couple lines through a couple messages, see if you like them. If not, block them and never talk to them again unless you awkwardly see them in public in the mall.
See them at public.
So I
exactly.
honestly, I wouldn't dream of forcing it upon anybody. But I think if in today's day you're looking at lesser risk, meet someone organically. Go for a more regressive standpoint of dating. Meet someone at church. I don't have any data or statistics to prove it, but I feel like body counts today are a lot higher, and that turns a lot of people off.
Wait. What do you mean body counts? How many people you slept with?
What does that mean?
No, how many people you killed? Yes, how many people you slept with?
See, I saw something about that before.
Wait.
This is weird.
We got to do something. Wait, we need a timeout here.
They call people sleeping with someone killing them.
Michael, hold on, Michael. You need a
There's
timeout
two
here.
definitions of body count. I'm talking.
No, wait.
Okay.
Hold on. Gabe, your day job is not a comedian either. Thank you.
No, but yeah.
But that's the language they use. I just literally today, I just heard I saw a meme where they're talking about, I forget, it was something stupid. Who would you want to date? One girl is never had a date. She's a virgin. And that was looked down upon. And then they had this other girl with, like, she had 101 body count, 5 kills. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I think that's what you're talking about, Gabe, right? That's what it means.
You really never heard the term body count?
No,
not in that context. No,
never in the high school.
Just yeah.
No.
Well, look,
I know it from
I'm
military
62
context.
years old. I'm twice your age, man. I
Same.
and I go to bed at 8
Same.
o'clock. I would literally be going to bed right now if it wasn't for this show.
All right.
Well, I
Anyway,
wouldn't.
let's just
No.
for the sake of argument, pretend that we all understand body count means the amount of people you slept with.
Body count means deaths. You're talking to two military guys.
I'll accept it. That's
And
the new
Charles,
thing.
I've got one more theory from the high school. Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
The new theory is, I've heard this outside the high school actually, but it makes some sort of sense. I've heard this new theory years ago, like maybe 10 years ago. It's been that long, that basically we would think of when we were young going on a one-on-one date with a girl, guy.
Yeah.
And then the thing is now it's kind of like the show Friends, where everyone would meet at a certain spot.
Oh,
And
yeah.
all these
yeah.
people, they'd be couples, but you wouldn't go out on a date with another person. You would go
Heard
to
of
a
that.
place at night with 6 people. And so
Yeah.
they could be all dating one another. It could be couples. They might not. They might just be this group of friends. Maybe 2 of them are dating. It sounds different, but the thing is, it's cultural kind of. And that's one
Right.
thing that maybe they're doing, where the old go out with someone, like I thought, that's what I did. But then again, you meet with a group and then you bond with someone in the group or something that I'm not totally used to. But that's possibly the new way that people are kind of dating, that they go in groups, and the risk averse part could be that no one needs to ask someone for a date. No one has to have rejection, that kind of thing. And so if you go with the group and you get to go with someone, you can be with them, but it's not really a date, and
It isn't a date.
That kind of thing. I don't know if people even put it, like people used to put online that on Facebook that the person is in a relationship and stuff. But I don't think they do that anymore. I don't think that. I mean, maybe that ran its course,
because it's
and I don't
corruption.
see that anymore.
Because
so,
it's a corruption of our society.
These days, when a girl or guy has a higher body count, they're less likely to find a suitor.
Oh, yeah. So sleeping around. All right, hold on for a second. Let me catch up.
So they're whores. And if you are a whore, whether a man whore or a female whore, you're unlikely to actually get married and have a meaningful relationship. That hasn't changed.
But it's more easily discoverable with the internet these days.
That's because people are stupid and they're telling all their secrets. All the skeletons are out on display instead of inside the closet. And of course, when people see that you are a horrible, broken, miserable human being, they don't want to be with you. Now, the reason you're horrible and broken is because you're indoctrinated. But guess what? We broke these kids, and now we're watching it and saying, oh my God, isn't that terrible? No, let's do something about it, which is, you know what? How about we take about a couple giant leaps backwards so that these kids can actually be kids, grow up, be regular adults, and, they'll have some happiness. That's why they're all on medications and therapy, because that's what leftists do. They're on therapy.
So you agree with me then that we need to promote social aggression?
Hold on for a second. Rich is chiming in to let us know that it is common vernacular, and he's talking about the body count thing. And he also, Gabe is a big fan of you. Vote for Wozniak. All right, loving that. Hal knows that the 4 of us know dating like nobody else. And you're right, Hal, because man, oh man, was I dating like never when I was single.
I was, still am.
Oh man, that's
single
funny.
now, but
I love it.
You're a
I've
stone
got a
cold.
couple
So it seems to be like
decade-long relationships, but I'm single now, so what the hell?
It does seem to come back to technology in the sense that like so much of your life is out there, and your body count can kind of be. Maybe they should replace in a relationship with body count on Facebook. How about that as something that should be done?
People are stupid, and they want to make sure that they guarantee that they will never have a meaningful relationship. They'll get old, have cats or dogs, and they'll die alone.
And it is weird,
fantastic, but I think you're going to be pretty depressed about it.
I'm with like 160 12th graders every day, and I only know 2 or 3 that may be dating.
That's amazing.
The rest of them, I'd be guessing. They just have a private life. You got to figure that
there's more, but they're keeping it quiet. But that is still really, really kind of amazing.
Teenagers aren't known for being quiet, and this generation Beta or Alpha, they're not quiet about anything. Everything that happens on their mind is either spoken out of their mouth or put online. They have absolutely no self-control in terms of withholding any feeling that they might have, because their entire life has been instructed to them that feelings are more important than facts, and you must share your feelings with everyone all the time, everywhere. They aren't holding anything back. If you're not,
that's not necessarily true,
not.
Michael. And I'll say that's not necessarily true, because part of the reason why, according to the Institute for Family Studies, part of the reason why dating is down is fear, rejection, embarrassment, and heartbreak. So if somebody in that Gen Z population is going to date, they're going, and it comes along with that fear of rejection, embarrassment. They're not going to say until they're confident enough to tell people that they're, especially their teachers, right? They're not going to make that public in school till they're confident enough to know they have some sort of, because of it. Yes, they say a lot of stuff that you're right. I think it's both, actually, Michael. I think you're right as well. But it can also be that they're like, all right, I don't want to be embarrassed if this goes bad. I'm not saying that I'm dating,
I think you're wrong, Chuck. It's not that they're.
Oh, that's fine.
Let me explain why.
Chuck's
the reason
right.
why.
Facts
and
don't
it's
care
not
about your feelings.
It's not because of the feelings or the rejection. It's that they could be actually legally held liable, because it's a microaggression to say to a woman that you are interested in that they look good today. That literally can get you fired from a job. It literally can get sexual harassment charges placed upon you. There is a criminal penalty. Thank you, Democrats, and especially the progressive socialists and the third wave, fourth wave feminists that are now saying that no, that is harmful to women, and therefore men, because they're toxic, how dare you tell a woman that you think she's attractive? You are obviously a bad person. The reason why they're not talking, why they don't go, isn't because of the rejection. We've all faced rejection. Everyone, you ask someone out, everyone deals with it. You get past it. That's just part of life. And having a little bit thicker of a skin, which you need as an adult, experience you have to go through. But they're not doing it, not so much because of the fear in terms of their feelings, but because of the legal ramification. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, definitely in workplaces, boy, that's changed a lot. Absolutely. So let's go on to another tranche of risk avoidance. And I'm going to start with Gabe on this one. I don't know, Gabe, if you've thought about being a parent down the road, but being that you are the youngest of the bunch and parenting maybe in your future, should parents be encouraging risk-taking? How do you perceive this idea that if a child goes too far or climbs a tree too high, it's a nervous thing, and are we being a little too protective of children? Is your age group being a little too protective, and when it comes to rearing children?
I have to agree with what you were talking about when you first brought it up, Charles. When I was a kid, I rode my skateboard, my bike, even just bare feet walking anywhere I wanted to, as long as I was back before sundown. Having the liberty to explore is a crucial part of becoming an adult. And if I was stuck to the same rules that we're stuck to now, like 15 years later, then I wouldn't have any of these like precious memories I had of my first taste of independence, my first time hanging out with my friends alone. I saw a post recently of a lady who was arrested at Universal Studios Boardwalk because she was hanging out at the boardwalk while her son and his friends were walking around Universal riding the rides. They were like 14 years old. I'm like, that is crazy to think a 14-year-old in a confined park can't just have fun with his friends without parental supervision. It's like, all right, we'll meet you at this spot at this time. We didn't even have cell phones back then. I think that it's a bunch of helicopter parenting. I think it's a bunch of helicopter executive government, and I don't think it's good for us as a society at all.
Okay. So, John, you're dealing with parents all the time. What say you on this?
Yeah, I think that we've gotten into a custom and it affected me a little bit. I raised 2 daughters here in Daytona Beach, and I wasn't like a helicopter parent. But the thing is, the norm might have been that they played at our house or they played at other houses, and they weren't like outside on their own a lot. And I think a lot of it is with our society where we just fear other people. I mean, not personally like your neighbor when you know them, that kind of thing, but the unknown. So I think when the kids go off to play and they're gone for 2 hours, I think that could, I don't know the modern parents. I was parenting back in the 90s, but the parents might be very uncomfortable if you don't see the child for like an hour. I think mostly because of the lack of trust in society, and they're thinking that they're going to be in trouble or something. And then with the cell phones, I know that the students will contact their parents, which goes to the bond that I had my parents, but they'll contact their parents during the school day. I never thought of that when I was younger because I didn't really want to talk to my parents all day. I saw them at home,
Right.
But all day I'm going to talk to them. I'd rather talk to my friends and stuff. So I didn't need them like maybe they do, but for them, it's like they talk to their parents a lot. And sometimes it's like if I mark them out by accident, they tell me, which is good, and then I can say, "Hey, you're in class. I'll correct it," which happens. But that's the way I know that they're in contact with their parents even while they're in school, and that's something different than we had because that was impossible.
That's because of the phones. Yeah. So yeah. I'm sorry if I missed it. Are you sensing that parents are more fearful?
Yeah, I think from everything going on, and then maybe over fearful, but then again, you hear about things and you want to protect your kids. And so it's a double-edged sword where let them have freedom, but then again, are you keeping them safe? That's
right. So, okay. So Mike, this is where I want to turn it to you. So fear. It's something that, John brought up a couple times there. Parents seem fearful. Is society really more dangerous now than it was before? Or do we just know more of the dangers that are happening because of the 24/7 news cycle and social media and all that?
We have been indoctrinated and we have been programmed to be afraid because it's politically expedient. If you're afraid, seek out someone who can protect you. You look for an authority figure. If you're a child, that means you look for your parent, although many progressives would like you to look for the government instead. But as an adult, you look towards law enforcement and government. That's because you're afraid, something beyond your capability to handle. The reality is kids today are safer than they were in the 70s and the 80s. And that's a fact. And they say, oh, but what about the child predators? They existed back then too. And there were probably, in terms of proportion and percentage, just as many as there are now. The difference is I knew my neighbors. I remember when I was young, at 15, I was on the New York City subway by myself, traveling to a job where I would work over the summers and take the train back at night after doing an 8-hour job, coming back from downtown Manhattan by myself on that same 5 train and walk into my neighborhood. And that was fine. I remember that when I was even younger in my teens, that me and 24 kids in the neighborhood were down on the street playing stickball, running and chasing each other up and down the blocks. Every neighbor knew my mother. And when it got too late, or when they thought it was too late, they said, go home. And I would go home. They knew my mother's name. If I did something wrong, they'd call up my mother. They had her phone number. They would call her and say, you know what your son just did? Because we actually knew our neighbors. We knew our neighborhoods. And it was conducive to having children because we had trust in each other and also in the government. We weren't constantly being told to be afraid. Now, you fast forward to today. Well, let's see, the same neighborhood that I grew up in, the same neighborhood, that all those things I just mentioned, we're going 50 plus years into the future. Here we are today. And I don't know any of the people on this block because they're all relatively new. Half of the people are renters, and a third of them at least are illegal aliens that came into the country within the last decade, mostly under the Biden-Harris administration. These are people from God knows what country with whatever ideology of that country that aren't here to assimilate, and they don't care. They don't care about the neighborhood. They don't care about the businesses, and they don't care about the people. They're
Well,
here
how does
to
that
make
play
money.
into fear, though? Because they're raising children just like
Well,
a legal
does that-
person is.
The
How's
reason
that,
why
raising? Go ahead.
Well,
You
the
got it.
reason why it plays into fear is that we are told, now that's a bad situation. Add to that, we have told and taught a generation that every time your kid goes out, those people that you do not know, that came from whatever God knows what country, are here to attack your kids. And they're going to abuse your children, and you'll never see your child again. So you better be on top of your child every minute of every day, everywhere they go. They can't go and do anything independently anymore. They have to constantly seek out a authority figure. Now, the reason why is so that they are trained to be a drone, so that as they grow up, they will always seek an authority figure. And as they grow up, that authority figure far sooner than later becomes government. And then that means they are complicit, and they will do whatever the leading class it tells them to do, whether it's Democrat or Republican, It doesn't matter. That's the problem. And it's really upsetting, because then we get the arrogance that we see, like with a Ro Khanna, who goes to a foreign country.
Okay, we're not going to go down the Ro Khanna farm, because that we're talking about neighborhoods here and fear in this country.
It's the same. It's the same. It's the product of the same.
That's a bit of a stretch.
But go ahead.
So John, Mike brought up and Gabe brought up independence for children, right? Gabe brought up how great it felt, brought back memories of me on my bike, and you can go and do whatever you want. Mike spoke about independence and too much like reliance on the government. Government sells fear, and then the government will protect you. You had 2 daughters. How was it raising 2 daughters in the 1990s, as far as fear of what might happen to them when they went out to a club or something along those lines?
Well, eventually, when they were teenagers, I knew that it's important that if they go out with friends, they're with friends. I knew who the friends were, and that's part of growing up. So you have to, at some point, when they're teenagers, and they had a good head on their shoulders, and everything worked out fine, luckily. And so they would, go around in Daytona, but they had friends they went with when they were upper teenagers. But a lot of times the parents would be around and stuff, and it just happened to be that way. A lot of times they need to be driven to stuff, which a lot of parents in my era in the 90s were very busy, because we wanted to do stuff for our children, and we didn't want to always say, well, we can't take you here, we can't take you there. They knew how it was being a child. They didn't have transportation. And so I didn't mind doing that, because sometimes it felt a little weird, my parents saying, can you drive me to here? Can you drive me to there? So I drove my kids to a lot of events and stuff. And a lot of parents, I think, did that. And they went to different places, went to different houses. We would be around. But helicoptering, luckily, for us, we didn't really want to. We just kind of stood back, way back, when they would kind of play and have their own kind of world and stuff. But a lot of times it was just transporting them to a place. But I didn't fear a lot. And I think that there weren't a lot of unnecessary risks. So I think they could be very social, and they were. And they're maybe different than the kids are today, even though they're 20s and 30 and stuff like that. They're very social. And I don't know if the kids today, another generation later, are just very different, but I see it very different in school, because they tell me about in school about where they work and playing ball, and they go to their games and different things like that. So I get kind of very involved with, certain students and stuff in a very, appropriate way. And they'll tell me about where they work and what they do and this and that, and very appropriately. But as far as dating or something like that, no, other boundaries. Those are kind of out of bounds or something.
Right. But as far as raising your kids in the 1990s, as far as raising your kids in the 1990s, you didn't really have much fear raising two daughters in the 1990s.
No.
You and your wife didn't go to. Okay.
No,
All
we
right.
didn't really concentrate on that. Anything could happen, of course, but if you're reasonable and you're not putting them at great risk, then they're most likely just going to be fine. They went to a lot of school events and things like that. And so there were school events, there were like church events they went to, church events at night, like the Sunday school kind of thing, except it's weeknights and things like that. And we knew, people running the stuff, and they went to different activities like that. And we just kind of drive them there, drive them back, and just do that part. But the kids need to be kids, and they had a very good, I think, what different interests they wanted to do, and they had a very happy childhood. And I don't think there was that much to fear. And it's unfortunate, like Mike says, it's very unfortunate if we're going to fear that we let the kids out the door anytime. We're going to fear what's going to happen to them, because that's not a good way to live. And then the threats, rare things happen, which is unfortunate, but my kids were always safe. Unfortunately, nothing ever happened. Knock on wood.
Thank God for that.
Yeah,
I think you hit the nail on the head there. Rare things are going to happen, and of course, those are the things that get played up in the media, right? The rare things get played up in the media, and so that sells fear, and it's one of the things. I think Michael, you touched on the government sells fear because they want to eventually protect you. Insurance companies sells fear because they want to sell their policies, and everywhere you look, you're being sold fear. You need the extended warranty. You need, this, and extended warranties are a scam, by the way. We can go into that in another show. But you're sold fear all the time. Mainstream media does that, right? Because they talk about that rare occurrence, and it scares parents. They're like, oh my God, that might happen to me. But the reason why that's on TV is because it almost never happens. So it is. We were sold fear, and it is. I like the way you described it, John. I much rather have it be that way. So let's see.
I got a quick question for Mike.
Yeah, go.
Hey.
What's stickball?
What's stickball?
I know that.
Okay, it's baseball with a broomstick and a little sponge ball. That most people like the blue tennis balls, the solid, the ones with air, not the solid ones. You use that.
Is that a New York game?
It's pretty much any town in America since baseball was created.
You're from New York too, John?
Yes, we played stickball in Brooklyn.
Everyone
and the way Mike described Brooklyn, that was just exactly how I grew up, where the neighbors, the neighbors' parents, it would start to get dark, and the people down the block would say, okay, wrap up the football game. Your parents want you home now, I'm sure. And so there was they weren't your parents, but they were looking out for you, which was good. And they weren't like helicoptering. They just knew we were out there, and people would just, make sure everything was fine in general. And then they would just kind of tell us, well, it's about time, you really should be going home. And there was a lot of that where people would jump in at the parenting, but it wasn't over the top. It wasn't power thing where I'm at the power to tell the kids to go home. It was just that there was a shared responsibility to an extent, and it was all proper, I think. And they just told us, hey, it's time to go home. Your parents would want you to go home. But if something happened, we could go to a neighbor or something and say, hey, Johnny got hurt or something. Do you have a Band-Aid or something like that? If something actually, nothing really happened like that, but you could have that. But we had a lot of help with the communities, and we had block parties and stuff like that in Brooklyn. And a lot of that, maybe it's leaving America, but we had block parties and that kind of thing where people would get together at night. The police would close the street, and you would just kind of have a correct party. I mean, the police would even participate, and all it was a little bit of music. People would be out meeting each other, that kind of thing. And people would just get to know their neighbors and stuff. But there were block parties in Brooklyn. And they were
we still had block parties on Long Island. My sister sometimes would actually be the person to put them together. It's kind of why I know. But it seems like I know around here, it seems like it's more government run parties happen. You know, Daytona Beach, John, has a lot of like government sponsored get-togethers for the community, and I know they feel good doing it, but it always strikes me when we're at those meetings, that it's like why is the government doing that? Like, why don't just like people want to have a party, they just go ahead and go do it? Why is the government funding or
they can?
Yeah, right. Go ahead, Mike.
Control.
I think
Because
Charles is
you
asking why
shouldn't
is
do
the
it.
city wasting our money?
You're right, Gabe. It's wasting our money, but it's also underlying the undercurrent at the absolute core of it is control. You didn't create the party, government did. Remember when Obama said, you didn't build the business, government did. Complete, absolute, factual lie, empirically a lie. But he said it anyway, even though he knew better, because he wanted to plant a seed in the minds of the youth, of younger people and easily manipulated people to think, okay, government is always in control, micromanaging your life. You are not responsible for you. Government is. This has been happening piece by piece for decades. And what we see with our kids being terrified of going outside, being terrified of having a date, being terrified of being whatever of the two genders that they were born into, they're terrified of that because government didn't affirm it for them. They have no individual rights or any individual motivations. You're a drone. They're a bunch of mental slaves, and the cage that they've surrounded themselves in is the one that has been built through the through the school educational indoctrination of the progressive socialist who wants to use that mental infirmity to destroy the Constitution and the amendments and replace it with their own ideology, which is more beneficial to them. And again, ask Mamdani, ask AOC, ask Bernie Sanders. They've all admitted that's what they want. They want to destroy the Constitution, the amendments. They want to destroy the society as it exists. Mamdani
they told me
hates that America is, that we have this society, and he wants to replace it with one that he prefers, whether we want to or not, dragging us kicking and screaming with him. And they're all very, very public about this.
Well,
I guess I just think it's funny that I'm on a panel with a Republican that wants to stay in New York and a Democrat that got the hell out. It's like a Twilight Zone episode.
I've left the city before, but yeah.
That's funny. Okay, yeah, we're going to talk about Mamdani. He's doing some crazy things in a little bit. I do want to circle over to bring up the sports. That was a part of the framing in the beginning there, and how sports have become less and less. They become more and more risk averse. And, to a certain extent, I can understand this. If you own a team, let's just take baseball. If you own a team, and do you want that player in a collision? You're paying that player $10 million, whatever, per year. Do you want that player in a collision where your $10 million investment is now sidelined? So I can understand why you would have no collisions at second base or no collisions at home plate, or having hockey players wear helmets. Because I kidded around. You used to be able to just get a puck, hitting your head, and nobody thought twice about it. Well, number one, when I was playing football, even in the 1980s, everybody thought it was funny when you got your bell rung. Now you can get a concussion. So we have become smarter. So that's why there's risk avoidance in sports, and the owners are putting out a lot of money. That's why there's risk avoidance in sports. So what I'm going to do is ask this question, and Gabe, we'll start with you on this one. The most of the major sports, the most damaging is by far the NFL. It's almost gladiator like in the fact that 92% of the people who play in the NFL wind up with brain disease. But as long as you want to drink your beer and munch on chips, who cares if a human being gets brain disease? You got to spend 7 hours on Sunday betting on football and watching people destroy themselves. Have at it. Okay, so where does this leave football? Is football one day going to be like the gladiators at the Coliseum, where people are just going to be like, that was barbaric? Are we heading that way? Has risk avoidance gone to that level? What do you think, Gabe?
I mean, it depends what way you measure it. You can come at it from a bunch of different ways. If I'm not mistaken, soccer is the most deadly real sport. There's how in the last 10 years, how many football players have died on the field? I'm talking real football. I'm talking American football.
I have no idea, but I can think of
Two
the
or
one in
three.
Buffalo right after he got the shot, right after he got COVID and he got hit in the chest and he died.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
what a
he
coincidence.
died, but not for good.
He didn't die, that guy? See, I don't
No.
follow football. I thought he died.
No, he's
No.
still here.
Yeah.
There's a Minnesota Viking player who recently died from CTE. And I know others have committed suicide and things like that, but on the field, I'm not so sure. So, but
I think, though, that we are taking every necessary precaution while ensuring that the game still doesn't suck. We're doing that on more ways than one. I mean, you can argue like a bunch of the new rule changes, yada, 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 but we're not making it where, say, you're not allowed to tackle a wide receiver. You can only two-hand touch them or something stupid like that. I think that if anything, I think soccer is a lot more dangerous than football is.
Okay. John?
They don't wear helmets, Michael.
All right, you know what, John? I'm gonna go.
There's
I'm gonna
a
go
lot
to
of
Michael on this
differences.
because Michael's the World Cup fan here. So the basic question, Michael, and start wherever you want, but get to the basic question being: has all this risk avoidance put a sport where 92% of the people get brain damage at risk itself of being viable and will one day be looked at as we look at the gladiators in the Colosseum? It's just a barbaric thing that humans did. But first, let's do Gabe's part of that. Do you think soccer? Do you know what's your opinion on that? More dangerous than football?
It's apples and pears. You're looking at a very different. They're both physical contact sports, and we're talking about physical contact sports. So people will be hurt. It's part of the job. It's part of the game. Deal with it. That's why it's meant for men, not women, because we're built for it. That's why we have denser muscles. We have stronger bones. We are built for contact. That's what these games are for. And to not make them contact sports takes away the fact that they're a game, and it makes it something else that no one really cares about, which is why so many people have walked away. But there's a big difference between soccer and the way they interact and contact and American football, which is closer to rugby than it is actually to soccer. So it doesn't really correlate. But I'd say, if anything, soccer is a little bit is safer, even though you're more exposed because of the nature of the way the game is played. So that's the difference between the two in that respect. But we got to remember, these are contact sports. And I don't think that the gladiators were barbaric. They weren't. That was accepted. That was the norm for the time. We're looking at the world from our eyes today and looking at the past. And we're judging the past by modern values, which, by the way, many of our modern values are warped and wrong. Again, modern values say that there's infinite genders. No, there aren't. And, we look at gladiators and go, that was brutal. Not all of them, some of them were slaves, but many of them were people who chose to be a gladiator because there was glory and reward in that. Same thing with the military. A lot of people were slaves, but a lot of people chose that as a profession, a lifestyle. We can't judge that world by our modern view because a bunch of pacifists don't like war. I'm sorry, that wasn't the world they lived in. This is, and so we can't say that, well, that's barbaric. No, it wasn't. That's normal. That was honorable. It was something that people did because it was worthy and it elevated them. Many of them, not all, but many of them. So and we will look at football. If we look at football, baseball, and basketball, we will say that there was an era, which is like the Michael Jordan era, the Reggie Jackson era, the Giants football era and such. There was a time within the first 50 years of American football that were golden when it worked. And then we entered into the modern era, which is progressive, and it sucks. And it's namby-pamby political pandering, and it's wasteful. The moment that Colin Kaepernick decided to take a knee, I stopped with the NBA. I haven't, the NFL. I haven't watched a single game since, and I won't, because it's no longer football. It's political pandering, and I'm not entertained by that. This is what I do for a living. This is what I do. I'm not there to watch someone politically pander for any side, least of all the one I don't like. And the same thing with the NBA. LeBron James wants to go over. It's like, China's fantastic. Communism is such a great thing because he got a big check, not thinking about the consequences because he's just greedy.
Okay, let's bring it back to sports and the danger, not the politics part. So, John, I don't know if you're a sports fan at all. I'd like to know, first off, if you are a football or a soccer fan, and do you think that football is in danger? I like Michael's take. I say what Michael said. I say a lot about other things that have happened. We can't look at it through our prism. You have to look at it through the prism of the people at that time. So I think that was right on point. And but John, do you think that someday, because this society gets more and more, society in general gets more and more, less and less risk taking, more and more risk averse, will football one day become like a niche sport and never go away, but not as popular as it is now, because people are going to be like, I can't watch a sport where 92% of the people get brain damage.
Yeah, I think because I watched a lot when 70s, 80s and stuff, and I didn't think of as much because it was very rare when someone had a career-ending injury. That was very, very rare. And so we didn't concentrate as much on the damage, but there were a lot of changes, like protecting the quarterback. Even though still a quarterback making passes, it's still for football fans very, very exciting, even though they're kind of more protected, but they're more vulnerable. And some of the stuff like horse collaring and hitting with your helmet and things like that, we didn't even think about in the 70s. But you can still play the sport, I think, at the same level without hitting someone with your helmet. And so and the helmets are different now too, that they take, they're more protective of concussions, but it's still a concern, I think, with a lot of the players that you get $1 million, you get really, really super rich, and you're kind of like an entertainer in a way. And then later in life, if you're a quarterback or if you're certain positions, that you get hit in the frontal lobe, and then it takes away your short-term memory when you're older. And so that's
so getting back to the question, do you think football is going to go away or become a niche sport, like, or go away, like will be looked at as barbaric, or is Mike on the right track? It's just, it wasn't barbaric for them. This isn't really barbaric for us. It's the way the sport's played in the times that we're living.
I think it will become safer, but it may not be as exciting. But you're kind of trading people with permanent injuries and then baseball, it seems like, except for like collisions at home plate and stuff like that, which aren't very common, that baseball, there's not a lot of contact. I think a lot of players get out and don't really have injuries. And for NBA overall, I think that there isn't really the collisions and that kind of thing. And maybe people's knees or something like that, and people can get their knees taken care of, even though it's kind of bad, and that kind of thing. And some people, it seems like they're fine, but I think maybe the football is just so much contact. It's different. And the soccer, they say, with the ball hitting your head, they say that part, the other parts with kicking and all that, from what I understand, it's fine. It's the part with the heading of the ball is the main concern. But the others, no, with your hands and with your kicking and all that stuff, it's actually keeps you in very good shape. But the ball hitting your head is the only thing I've heard.
So first of all, there are no collisions at home plate in baseball. Just to clarify that, that was gone, I think, in 2014. And yes, all sports are entertainment, John. You're 100% correct. And I think that's why, I mentioned the salary part. Like if you're an owner and you're paying millions of dollars for a Mike Trout or Tom Brady or Wayne Gretzky, you want that guy on the ice, A, because you're paying them money, and B, because sports is entertainment, and the most entertaining is when the world's best are playing. And in almost every sport except for soccer, the world's best are here in this country. So yes, that could be a part of it. And to answer, and you touched on Gabe's, and you think, based on what you said, John, it sounds like you think football is more dangerous than soccer. Am I correct? Did I read between the lines?
Yeah,
on that?
Because there is a lot more contact. There is a lot more contact, not at a low level, but at a very high level for football.
Well, every football play is the equivalent of a car accident, and no human being should go through that. That is horrible. It's why I actually stopped watching, because football was the first sport where the players were publicly being arrested for beating up their wives and girlfriends, and that's disgusting. And then it became the CTE thing, which football tried to deny in the beginning. We don't have a problem. But there's a great movie called Concussion that goes over that.
I gotta kind of agree with John on this one, though. Like,
sure.
These guys are getting paid millions of dollars for our entertainment. They know what they're signing up for.
Yes.
And when their job is more dangerous than your typical roofer or electrician, where's their parade? Like, who gives a shit about the football players compared to people you actually know who are doing more dangerous work than them?
Roofers fall off of roofs all the time.
Electricians get shocked all the time. Their workplaces are significantly more dangerous than a celebrity football player. And honestly, like, I could give a shit less about a Taylor Swift Kelsey wedding when my buddy's out there risking his life every day on the roof on a summer day in July.
I agree. That's why I don't follow celebrities. I agree 100%. I didn't even know that they were getting married at Madison Square Garden until my stepmother told me. I had no idea.
Oh, it's going to be great.
And she's a Kansas City Chiefs fan, which is why she knew it, or otherwise she probably wouldn't have known it either. So what was I going to say about the risks? Yeah, I mean, they take the risk, absolutely. And sport. Oh yeah, so sports. People take sports a little too seriously. Now I bleed cardinal red. I don't miss at bats for the St. Louis Cardinals, but I realize it's a sport, and the roofer, has a, I'm with you, Gabe, and Mike and John, you all said it. The roofer, the 9 to 5er, the risk that person is taking, it's just a sport. I mean, I love baseball, but it's just a sport. It's entertainment. And so I agree with the things that you said on that, Gabe, 100%. So Bronner's checking in. Bronner said that he said hello to everybody. It's been a few comments since then. I was going to bring up your hello, Bronner, but hello. Great to have you here as always. And this is a great time for me to remind everybody that they should like, comment, and share, because if you care, you will like, you will comment, and you will share. But not only here at The Opinion Guy, but at Mike's channel over at No Soundbites Allowed, because Mike rebroadcasts the show on his channel. And so what we want you to do is, if you're watching it on Mike's channel, don't X out of it. We want you to lower the volume, go over to The Opinion Guy, and bring it up there. So we're both getting the hits and the views, which is what YouTube uses to eventually get advertisements on here, because I want to frustrate you guys with advertisements. And also, if you're watching it on The Opinion Guy, don't X out of my show, but lower the volume, go over to Mike's show at No Soundbites Allowed, raise the rebroadcast, and give him, so we're both getting it. That way we're both getting it. It's a great hack. And we're both getting a lot more views that way. And I would appreciate that. And like, comment, and share them both. I appreciate that as well. And if folks know, I make sure if I'm home, I go on Mike's show every Sunday afternoon and comment. And I usually share it on X. You got to support the people who are doing this, folks. And I know for me, it is certainly appreciated. I know it's appreciated for Mike too, because I watch the show all the time. We have Monday with Mike's in our house. We sit down for dinner and we watch Mike. And we watch him throughout the week, of course, but Mondays with Mike is a standard in the house. So, thanks for being here, everybody. And that wraps up. Oh, I just want to ask one more thing about the risk avoidance, and then I want to get on to the New York City news, Mike. And that is, can this all be cyclical? Is this something that at some point or another we're going to pull back and say we went a little too far? It's a little too crazy. Mike, we'll start with you. Is it cyclical? And at some point, will we kind of go back in the other direction? Will the pendulum swing in the other direction in the years to come?
No.
As far as risk avoidance.
No, because the left never goes backwards. The left only goes left, and the left keeps going left, and they drag everybody else with them, and they move. It's called the Overton window. It is the propensity for people to be on a spectrum, left to right, except the left keeps moving left, and you may stand, and because you stand still, because the left is dragging everything to the left, you suddenly are on the right. Not because you changed, it's because they're trying to change the society and they're making it more leftist as they go. So we will never hear the left, who are never satisfied. They're never satisfied. And they're always trying to get more of what they want. They're never satisfied because they can't be, because they're miserable, because their ideology is miserable. That's why they get therapy. That's why they're on drugs. Because they're miserable and they make everyone else miserable around them so that they feel normal. And that means entertainment can't be entertaining. Entertainment is a vehicle for politics. And that's why we don't like it. And that's why modern entertainment is failing. Whether it's a sport, a singer, or movies, it doesn't matter. TV, it's all failing. Why? Because they're putting in leftist ideology into something that's supposed to make you be entertained. And they will never give it up because they want you to be as miserable as they are so that they can feel normal.
Okay. Yeah, I that drives me nuts, man. I don't like when they kind of filter that into the programming. I 100%. So what do you think, John? Are we is this cyclical, all this risk avoidance and being scared and everything that we covered this evening, parenting wise, the whole Megillah? Is it cyclical, meaning years from now, will the pendulum swing back the other way?
Yeah, I actually think it could very well swing back the other way. I think that parents, unlike Mike, I think that parents make their own choices, how they're raising their kids. I think that, I think they really have the autonomy to make their own decision. I don't think they're really that strictly strictly monitored by the left, where they're really, I just don't see it. But you can, I mean, you can't, I know friends of mine are conservative parents and they raise their kids, I think, the way they want to raise their kids. Not that their kids they can do like cookie cutter thing, but I think that their parenting, they can raise their kids any way they want to, up to a point, raise their kids, unless they're harming them or something. I mean, you do have that where you can't harm your kids because then the state will intervene. But I think that they do have the autonomy to do that. And
and go ahead.
I think they really can. I just don't see it as much with Mike's, the left is controlling the right's children. I just think that the parents who are conservative, I don't know if that's totally it, but parents who are conservative, I think, are raising their children the way they want to raise them. I just don't really see it as they're changing their behaviors. But I think the kids are going to see how they're raised or not blame their parents. I don't think they're really against their parents, but I think they might try for something different. And I think maybe they'll say, well, we want to maybe raise our kids with a little more freedom than we had. It was a little too restrictive, and it'll go in that direction. But I'm not entirely sure. It's really hard to tell.
Okay, so Mike, answer that. You could have like a rebuttal, and then I'm going to say a little piece there that John made me think of, and then Gabe will go to you on this final question in this topic. So what do you got, Mike?
Absolutely. The key words you said, John, were up to a point. Yes, you can raise your kids up to a point. Oh, we can't have kids who are armed. In the 1950s, we were teaching kids how to use rifles and proper safety how to have proper safety with firearms. And we were teaching them that in high school. Some places, junior high school. Yes, you can. If you teach your kid properly, you can absolutely arm the kids, and it's not a problem. Yes, you can raise your kids, but as you said, up to a point, because there are rules and regulations created by progressives and socialists in many states and many, many cities around this nation that say, yes, you can do anything you want your kids, except what the government said you can't, because it's illegal. And you, if they find out, CPS, which is in every single state, Child Protective Services will sweep into your house and they will punish you because you dared to do something that the government did not deem authorized or okay. So that's not true. Yes, the government is micromanaging more and more of families, even conservatives who fight against that, but more and more year by year. And the movement is because of a leftward lurch. Those laws about our children, about education, are left-leaning, and they are meant to be restrictive so that government can have more power over your kids than you do. It is happening, and you even admitted it, but you may not have realized the scope of it.
So, interesting point, and this is when Joe comes back. Last week, Joe Hanush on Facebook, brought up the Kids Act and how he would vote against it because he felt that it was too much government intervention in parenting. Michael, you just reminded me of that. And when Joe is back on the show, we will definitely speak about that because I'll spill the beans and say he would vote against it. I don't really know what's in it, and we're not going to go down that road here tonight. But as a preview, the next time Joe's on, and Joe, if you're listening, Joe couldn't be here because of a meeting, but if you're listening now or in the rerun, we're going to talk about that post that you put up there about the Kids Act and government intrusion in parenting. It was John who said that he thinks that parents, that we may go back to more risk taking as a society. And you know what? This always, when I prepared for this evening, this kind of reminded me of the cowboy image of America, the cowboy, that rough rider, that go west young man, and you're taking your risks, and you're a swashbuckler, and the more we become increasingly risk avoidance, the less that cowboy image of America, which for people who don't know was never an insult, it was always something to be proud of. It seems to be going away, and maybe, I mean, who knows what it is, what that touchstone is. Maybe at some point something's going to happen in society where people are going to be like, you know what? I want that cowboy image. I want that John Wayne. I want that Ronald Reagan again. And maybe at some point we will get back to that cow. I want the Democrat who's out, Chase Oliver. I want the Libertarian who's out there shooting up his weapons. I want the Democrat who's out there. I want that cowboy again. So maybe at some point we will. What would that be? Maybe we have to be close to the end of the country before we go, we better get back to what we used to be and let's start being risk takers again. I don't know. Gabe, what do you think? Is this cyclical? Are we headed? Are we going to one day kind of turn this bad boy around as far as risk goes, or not?
I kind of have to agree with Mike on this one. We're kind of keep going more left and more left as far as these things are concerned, going like centripetally in a spiral down to going back to the same space but different. And I think it all starts with, once again, Mike, how we are raising our youth and teaching them things like there's more than one gender, all that stuff. Just because you're a penis doesn't mean you have to be a man. We're operating in this county alone at over $1 billion for a school budget, and we are wasting it, destroying these kids, destroying social values. And that's why I'm a big advocate of school choice. And I think we just are getting closer and closer to proving it at a national level, and ultimately, hopefully, abolishing the Department of Education.
Sounds great to me. All right, listen, we got to bring this one up. I love this here. Hey, Mike, Phil and I agree. With or without hair, you look a lot like George Foreman. You should send you some of that grill money. Mike, you don't agree?
No, because I think George Foreman is ugly. Two, I don't look like him. More often, people tell me I look like Denzel or Malcolm X, especially when I have hair. I tend to get that. But I've almost never heard, it's like in my entire life, I've got 2 or 3 people who've ever said George Foreman. One person's ever said Richard Pryor. I think they're blind because they say that. And remember,
Richard Pryor.
George Foreman, yeah, that's what I said. Remember, George Foreman,
got Morgan Freeman.
I'm damn good looking. There is no comparison.
I love it. Denzel, I can see that.
Yeah, a lot of people can, especially if you look at Denzel's portrayal of Malcolm X, and also if you look at the original black and white photos of Malcolm X, and if you were to see a black and white photo of me, especially if I'm wearing my glasses, people often see it. Although Malcolm X had more red tinged hair, and mine is just pure black. But yeah, we there is a resemblance between the 3 of us.
Now, Denzel was a mainland high school grad.
A what?
So
Was he really?
Yeah, 1976.
That's here.
I didn't live here yet. About 1976, give or take a year.
How about that?
His grandmother lived here. And so he came down here. I thought people made it up until I saw it actually a picture of it in the Daytona Beach News Journal. But he graduated from Mainland High School in Daytona Beach.
This is the same high school Vince Carter graduated from, right?
Yes.
Vince Carter's a Hall of Fame basketball player for people who don't know. Nice guy. I interviewed him.
Where's
He's very
Denzel's
nice.
statue?
He doesn't have one here.
Put him in front of the drama theater.
Yeah.
You really
I've also
should.
been told I look like a young Denzel, just like in the facial structure.
Really?
No.
That is funny. See, you are a comedian. Who have you been told you look like?
Me?
Me?
You?
Gabe.
Yeah. I already said who I look like.
Yeah.
Who have I been told I look like?
Yeah.
It's like either like Denzel Washington or like that I can't think of his name.
Oh.
Who
All right.
who's that?
Yeezy?
Who's that one?
Are you
guy?
trying to say Yeezy? You look like the twin of Yeezy.
Yeezy? Is that
Yeezy.
Kanye
Yeezy.
West, right?
I guess. I don't know.
Yee.
I have no
right?
idea.
I don't pay attention to this crap. It's just a name.
Wait,
I don't know who Yeezy is.
Yeezy Yee? You mean Easy E?
No. I know Easy E. I've actually met him.
I don't think you
He's
know
dead.
Easy E.
Easy E is dead, and he was a little tiny crackhead gangster, total gangster, kill you in a heartbeat. But
Well,
you know,
I'm pretty
he's a little tiny. He was tiny. But no. I'm talking about Easy. I think that's Kanye. Yeah.
Okay.
He's your twin.
Oh yeah, it's like looking in a mirror.
John, how about you? What famous person are you often identified as?
Bill Gates. Look at
Bill
him.
Gates.
Bill Gates. Yeah. Look at
I
me
can
at a
see
young
that,
age.
yeah.
Bill Gates is a young age. The glasses
How about
kind
that?
of maybe do it. I've seen some pictures. There's a mugshot of him in New Mexico, and he's like in his 20s, and it could have been me in college.
Huh, how about
What
that?
did Bill
Really?
Gates do in New Mexico?
He was in New Mexico. He was starting his business, and he used to drive like a maniac, they said. And so the police didn't really like that in New Mexico. So they arrested him for wild driving. So he has a mugshot. I've shown the students and stuff. So he has a mugshot. He's like 26, early Microsoft. He
mugshot,
just
no.
out of Harvard. But they said he drove around. He had his wild stage. So he's like 26 or so, and he's like driving around New Mexico like crazy. He'd do all the work at the computer company at Microsoft, and they were just a few people in a building. And then he'd drive around like a maniac, and the police would chase him. So he had his wild side. He was in his 20s, but not much of a wild side.
So Tomasa McPasa, who is Tom Cafferty, he checks in and says he saw Denzel's picture in the old lunchroom when he used to go there. So they had a picture, if not a statue. Denzel at the Daytona Beach High School called Maitland.
That's weird.
I told Geddy Lee, the bass player in Rush.
Cool.
One time we were at Epcot, and this guy goes, "You know, you look like Geddy Lee." It's like, yeah, I've heard that before. And he goes, do you mind if I take a picture? I just want to play a joke on my friends. So I posed. So he wanted to tell his friends that he met Geddy Lee as a joke. So I get Geddy Lee a lot.
For you, I see the Aerosmith guy. What's his name?
Yep, Steven Tyler.
Oh, yeah. Steven Tyler.
Well, that wouldn't
I
be.
can see. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Steven Tyler,
All right.
man. If you could double for him, you'd
Can
be
you
mobbed.
say we're going down?
Yeah. You'd be mobbed
That's
anywhere
right.
you go.
Yeah. Who says I'm not now?
True.
Hey,
Yeah.
True. Give that man a
I
electric
can see
guitar.
Geddy in you, Chuck. All right. So Mamdani's up to some interesting tricks and actually going back on his word. Hard to believe. For folks who don't know, Mamdani's the governor of the governor. Then Mike would move if he became governor.
Hell yes.
The
Mayor.
Mayor.
Mayor of New York
Thank
City.
you. I knew it. I just couldn't think of it.
It's
Yeah.
one
Mayor.
of those governor offices. You know, you get there.
One of those government controlling offices. One of those politicians who wants to make sure your kids are controlled every step of the way.
Yes.
So what's going
Now-
on, Mike? What is he up to now?
Well, the glorious leader, the little leader, in his own mind, of course, Zohran Mamdani, the communist Democrat, who is in charge of New York and is seeking to destroy it step by step and is successful at that. Yay, DSA. He and his crack team of crackerjacks, the loony bin squad that he has as an administration, just went all out of their mind and decided to break U.S. law and to try and create an international incident because they love terrorism and they want to have pro-terrorist sentiment in New York to help terrorism around the world. They're actually supporting global terrorism. I think it's very interesting. Let me show you where I am drawing this from, because I'm not just making it up. It's not just my feeling. Here it is. Let's see if I can get this shared with you. Bear with me. This is not my system.
I got the article, the one that you sent us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to highlight paragraph 1, 2, 3. Should be paragraphs 4 and 5. Starting with the development is a continuation.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. There it is. The continuation.
Yes, that is. Yeah. So scroll up just a little bit.
Yeah.
So the quote ahead, but that's it. There. Perfect. So what this is an article from City Journal, which is a left-leaning organization, because 95% of everything I do only comes from the left sources. And this has been confirmed by other media sources. It happened on July 7th, 3 days after the 250th birthday of America. Zohran Mamdani was supposed to meet with the leadership of Iran. You know, the country that we've been bombing for 4 months. The country that has promised and has tried to kill every American they can reach for the last 47 years. The biggest sponsor of terrorism in the world. And his administration invited Iran, the representatives of Iran, to come to New York to meet with Zohran so that he could improve relations between New York City and Iran to help promote global terrorism. And Mamdani, of course, says, well, I didn't authorize that. Yes, he did. He's just trying to dodge the backlog because his employee, the administrator of the international affairs, New York City is the biggest city in the world. We have a Department of International Affairs. Fair enough. But rather than having dignitaries of a country who are coming or considering to come to New York City for whatever the reason, event or whatever, and they would contact that department, she on the basis of what Zohran prefers, which is Islamist leftist nations. She was reaching out to Iran to invite them to talk to Mamdani. And if no one had caught it, because this was a violation of U.S. federal law, if no one had caught it, Mamdani would have been more than happy to talk to the Iranian terrorist government. This is insane. By the way, Mamdani cannot, just like Gavin Newsom and like Ro Khanna, they do not have authorization or the right to conduct international policy for the United States. Not on any level, not a city, not a state. They can't do it. Not a mayor. So governor, congressman, and mayor, they do not have the right in any level to interact with a foreign government. That's federal. Only the federal government gets to do that. So he has violated, his people have violated probably something called the Logan Act, which is rarely enforced, but this is a violation of that, plus several other statutes. They could be, this could be forwarded to the DOJ, Department of Justice. It probably won't. It should result in, at the very least, a fine, but it's politically, the Democrats in charge of the mainstream media, especially in New York, have buried this story. They have buried this deep to protect Mamdani. But this should be concerning to people because this is
this is great. So, just to give some people the background, I reach out to everybody who comes on the show and say, do you got something? And Mike brought this to the table, and I'm so happy that you brought it up. I wish it wasn't happening. I'm happy that Michael brought it, because I did not hear this anywhere. And 100%, the mayor of any city is not representing the United States in any way, shape, or form. They cannot do that. What really is shocking to me, and I just read the stuff, and I'm just thinking to myself, how, at what point do the people in New York City, when are they going to be like, we can't do this anymore? When does that moment come? I just think that all the time. It's such a hellhole, that city.
Remember when Mamdani, who's a candidate, said, no, I don't want to go to foreign countries. I'm the mayor of New York. I don't want to stay here. Well, look what he's doing. The mayor of New York is calling other countries that he likes, that are politically aligned with his worldview of terrorism and socialism, and inviting him here into America to corrupt our society.
I got the quote.
It's right there.
He actually said he doesn't need to go to Israel to speak to the problems of the New York Jewish population. He could just stay in New York and do that. Well, then why can't you do that? Why can't you just go to the Iranian population? And why can't you just go to, why are you reaching out to all these other countries that it says right in this City Journal article, Michael, that they want to reach out to countries that are politically aligned with them, leftists. It says it right here in the article. This is what they're trying to do with the taxpayer money of New York City. They're trying to push their personal agenda, not support a candidate that's running for office in New York. I'm perfectly fine with that, even though I don't agree with socialism. I'm fine with you supporting the type of policies you think are good. But when you say you won't go to any foreign country because that is not what you're supposed to be doing, and then you do this, what Michael sent us and brought to our attention tonight, you basically went back on your word, really based on your likes and dislikes, not representative of the people that voted for you. I mean, this is certifiably insane. I don't know, Gabe and John, where to take this from a Florida perspective or a national perspective, other than it's freaking crazy. Does anybody see any way other than this is just nuts?
Well, Mike is right that only the president of the United States has been elected and can conduct U.S. foreign policy. What happens is a lot of administrations, right or wrong, there are accusations, when I've seen it just in the last several administrations for presidents, that there are accusations that they were conducting foreign policy, and they could, not saying this case, but they could have just been speaking to foreign leaders. So, but they're not allowed to conduct official business. Plus, it sounds like someone from Iran would, like the World Cup players. It was a sort of an ordeal for them to get into the U.S. in order to play their games because they were, we were at war with them, and they were controlled on whether they had to stay in Mexico at one point and how they were going to come into the U.S. But we're at war with the country, and it wasn't, I don't think, really done badly to them, but we did have protocols on where they could stay and where they could be, and they would be heavily monitored. It made, so I don't think that, I could be wrong, but I don't think that the Iranian leaders would just come into the U.S. and can easily do that and get through, get through the airport.
Okay. Do you see any way, John, that this makes sense at all?
I mean, if he's reaching out to Iran, it's being sort of from Florida. It's just that the New York politics is very, very different than Florida politics. I mean, this is nothing like us because we have, these Republicans in charge.
No, it has nothing to do with Republicans. That's
hold
wrong.
on, Gabe, what? I mean, I feel like I'm slanting the question, but I'm slanting the question, and I don't care. You're free to disagree with me, of course, you know that. But is there any way possible that this makes sense that he's doing this? Is this crazy or what?
I think New York colluding with Iran makes about as much sense as Florida funds going to Israel.
Okay, yeah,
I can see your point. It makes as much sense as Ro Khanna going on taxpayer dialogue to Israel for no damn good reason.
Yeah.
Virtual signaling. You can call it, the nicest thing you could say about this is they were virtual signaling, because they want to support Hamas, a terrorist organization under the control of Iran, which we're fighting against because they support global terrorism, blowing up women and children. You could say that. It's stupid. It makes no sense, but that's the nicest thing you can say about it. And every other aspect of it, especially as City Journal is revealing, the internal documents of the Mamdani administration. So it's not, again, this is a left-leaning source. It's not me being a conservative or Republican. These are internal documents of the Democratic Socialist who's mayor of New York. This is a fact. So this isn't being embellished. This is the reality, and this should trouble people because it has nothing to do with Republicans. This is what happened. And it is wrong on every level, legally and morally.
It should trouble. It's the Jewish population of New York. When he flat out says, "I'm not going to go," if I'm not mistaken, every single city mayor of New York City since Israel became a country in 1948 has gone there. Now that in and of itself to me is wrong. Because again, you're not representing the United States, and it's just pandering and virtual signaling. 100%. Hochul went there too. 100%. Agree with that totally. But they have gone, and he says, "I don't need to do that," and then he's doing this. The most troubled people, should be the group that's very democratic, the Jewish population of New York. Like, at what point do you go, "That's insane. I just can't do this anymore"? Like, I just don't know when that happens. And it's a very rhetorical question. I know there can't be an answer to that. But yeah, I think it's insane. And Gabe, Florida should not be giving money to Israel. 100%. In fact, you know who else shouldn't? The United States of America. Because as long as we have a veteran homeless person, as long as we can't take care of our own, we shouldn't be helping any other country. We should be helping us. That, in my opinion, is true MAGA. That's true America first. America first, not MAGA. I'm sorry. That's true America first is to do that. And I am half my family is Israeli. Half my family is Jewish. So it is not like an anti-Jewish thing. I love Israel, but go fight your own wars. Right? I love Israel,
people can't differentiate between Israel and Jewish people. You're an anti-Semite if you speak down against a foreign government. Like, what does that make a libertarian speaking against their own government?
No.
Right. I hate our government. I love our people. Hate our government.
There's a difference.
You know what, Mike?
Iranian people
No, go
and
ahead.
Iranian's government. I hate the Iranian government. I love Iranian people. Same thing with Israel and the people versus the government. It's people confuse the two on a regular basis. You're right, Gabe. But I think it should be understood. It's not very hard, unless you want to misinterpret it, that we're talking about governments, not an individual. Right. Very different things.
Yeah.
I've never been done.
And I switched over to highlight this part right here. It's a small part of a larger sentence here, that the person in charge of this international government body in New York has no prior diplomatic experience. This is the person you voted for in New York City. It is mind-numbingly stupid that you have somebody who's never had diplomatic experience heading the department that is charged with international relations. You have to be a freaking idiot to appoint that person. And that's what Mamdani did. And that's what you guys voted for in New York City. And it boggles my mind to no end. And that's why New York State as a whole is losing, because that's an infection throughout the whole state, and all the smart and all the ones who are fed up are getting the hell out. All right, I said enough.
You notice everyone in the Mamdani administration, everyone surrounding him, they're all members of the DSA. They're all socialist communists, and none of them have actual experience at anything. It's all theoretical to them. And they're running the country. This is like Obama thinking that he knows how to run the United States economy. It's all based on theory. And they are running everything into the ground, which, by the way, they don't care, because they want to destroy the American Constitution. They've said it. It's very clear. These are the objectives of the DSA. And we are suffering, and this will be long-term suffering, from the damage this social experiment that's being run against us. And it's going to hurt the whole country. You think it's just limited to New York? No, please. The consequences ripple out from New York City to the whole country.
Yeah. So Hal, you did misunderstand that. I know later on Mike clarified, but yeah, we didn't say that. Yeah, we definitely did not say that he was planning to go there. He in fact, it was actually his. I think it was that woman Archia who was the one that was going to do the on his behalf. You know, the person who has no diplomatic experience was the one who was going to go do diplomacy. So it makes a lot of sense. That's like it's like having the person who's skilled at operating a train get behind become a pilot and just take off in a plane,
or a brain surgeon like just digging into your head.
Yeah, right. There you go. Those idiots have nothing to do with international affairs, and they certainly aren't helping Americans. Yeah, they're not even helping the people who they're supposed to help, which would be New York City residents. Unbelievable. Well, all righty. We'll just leave that there. Thanks, Mike, for bringing that up. I really feel strongly that I should just cut this whole piece out and put it out there.
Yes, please do.
Day or two. Yeah,
the American people should hear about this.
It is really
no matter what they think. The American people should hear about this, because it's international. This is bigger than just local city. And by the way, New York City isn't just a small city. It's the biggest city in the world. It is one of the most important cities in the entire world. It has more GDP than most countries in the world. And this is international news. This affects America. It's geopolitics. Everyone should be hearing about this. So why hasn't CNN or MSNBC or whatever they call themselves, ABC, CBS, why are the left-leaning news media not touching this? Why are Democrats running from this story like it's like their ass is on fire? I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. I agree. Alrighty. Well, we had Addison Liberty Patrick on a couple of times, and she has beaten the GOP and is still on the ballot in the city of Jacksonville. The GOP tried to sue her off, and she has a countersuit because she believes that the GOP is their candidates for the seat that she's running in, which is a at-large seat on the City Council of Jacksonville. Should be disqualified, and that hearing is going to be on Wednesday. So we are going to have her back on the show down the line. I hope we can schedule her to find out how that went and get some insight and some the background information on that as well. And she also is going to be out and around town in Jacksonville. So definitely check out where she's going to be this weekend. She has 3 events she's going to, and something called Teach, Reach, and Preach. So I want to get the word out there because she's been so good to the show, the opinion guy, that I want to make sure that folks in Jacksonville get out and say hi to Addison. Go to her Facebook page and get more on those dates. But it's a weekend of action. Teach, Reach, and Preach. She's appearing at 3 different events. One on Friday the 17th. Oh, that's not this coming week, but the weekend after, the 18th, and then the 19th. So I did want to mention that and support her. If you support me, I support you. And that's the way it goes on this show. And I think we're going to leave it there, except for one thing. I want our candidates to say once again where they can be reached. But before we do that, Bruno's checking in. Addison is so cool. Fantastic. Yep, 100%. I don't even remember how we virtually met, but somewhere along the way, I don't know, it may have been Joe who mentioned Addison today.
I think Joe referred her.
It was Joe, right? Yeah. Cool. All right, great. Yeah, and I think Joe referred Gabe too. Joe should be in like human resource director. He just gets, headhunter. He just finds people, and they're all great people. So Gabe, where can people reach out to you? And if you have any appearances, great. But where can people reach out to you and support your campaign?
My inbox is always open. Instagram, Facebook, email. There's even a phone call I'll take. Generally, if there's a phone call and I don't know the number, I'll answer in a Chinese accent, just because I don't know who it is. And then once they give me their credentials, I'll be like, okay, I did the accents because I thought you were a spam caller. But yeah, just look me up, Wozniak 4 Florida with the number 4, and I'm on all social networks. I'll get your notification.
Awesome. All right, great. How about you, John? Where are you going to be? I know, John, you're going to be at City Hall, and I'll see you there on Wednesday. But that's not an unofficial campaign stop. Your official campaign stops and where people can reach you.
Yeah. Where people can reach me right now, it's Facebook. And then I do have my website coming up. ZGraph, that's a local company, is creating my website. They're in Daytona Beach. So I'm using local talent. And they're creating my new website. And that should be really good. And I'll be, like I said, with the realtors, with the builders, at the Abbey Bar. We have an FDP convention this weekend. I'm going to meet Pete Buttigieg. So I'll meet him at the convention.
Oh, wait. Where is that?
Disney.
Okay. What day?
Of course it is.
Yeah.
You have my condolences.
It's at Disney.
You have my condolences.
What day is it?
A day with Pete Buttigieg. I feel so bad for you. I'm sorry.
I like Pete. What day is that?
Pete's going to have those Mickey Mouse ears on.
It's Friday. You get there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then at the end of the time, we're going to have an event where we watch the FIFA World Cup finals on Sunday.
Okay.
So we have a meeting in the morning, and then we gather, for whoever wants to do it, gathers somewhere by a TV or something and watches the finals together. So that's the last.
Is that meeting open to the public? Where can people go? Is that meeting open to the public? Where is it?
We're at the main it is where the main meetings and stuff. It is invite only because security and stuff like that. You have to be a Democrat.
All right.
So Coronado Springs is where we're meeting. People can go to Coronado Springs, but there's a point where we have the wristbands and all that because of security.
Yeah. Okay. And where can people meet you on the campaign trail? Not a private event, but a public event. Where can people meet you?
Public events. Let's see. I'll be out on different events. I'm going to the Dickerson Center. There's a big event there in later this month. There's let's see. I'm trying to think of the ones that are more, and then others will be coming up. So there are a lot of different things, and I'm just at as many of the campaign events as I can go to. A lot of them have been Democrats so far, but when it gets after August, there'll be Democrats and Republicans. And so I met like Mayor Leslie of Ormond Beach. I met him. We got to know each other really well. So I know Poniatowski. I know a lot of most of the Republicans anyway. Yeah.
Okay. Quick question, because you just reminded me, and I did want to ask this. And John, yes or no? Yes or no? August 18th primary for you, or are you straight to the general election?
Straight to November.
Okay. How about you, Gabe? Straight to November or August 18th primary? Okay, so nobody has to go to the polls specifically for either one of you two, but in November you guys have to go to the polls for them because you watch my show, and anybody who you've watched my show, you're obligated to vote for the people who are on it, which is kind of tough because Monica Paris is on this show too. So I don't know what the heck you guys are going to do in the case of John, but that's another story. Thankfully, I don't vote in that because I'm not in Daytona Beach, so I don't have to worry about who I'm going to vote for because I'm friends with both of them. Like Mike said in his show yesterday, I'm an independent. So I can be friends with everyone.
Yeah.
You are.
When was the last time I was on this show?
A month ago?
Right before the bartending.
No, I think it was after you bartended. We did it before you bartended for a campaign fight, and then after, which is, by the way, Tommaso McPasta's bar, the world's most famous brewery on Main Street in Daytona Beach. So it was after that. Bar. Yeah. So when did you bartend? Do you remember?
June 20th, actually, I think it was. Yeah. Before
so we're
that,
almost, so we're 3 weeks. So 3 weeks
you
ago.
said like we should get a debate going. I sent out the invitation
to
both my opponents, Jake and Judy, and neither one had to reply for me.
Okay. Well, I actually reached out to Jake and asked him to come on the show today. Jake Johansson. I know you're running against him, but Jake Johansson is a very interesting guy because he actually held the nuclear football, the suitcase with the codes for a couple of presidents, serves his country and all that. I would like to get him on to explain his platform because this is a free and open exchange of ideas and of opinions. And even if I do have my favorites, I love Jake as a person. He's a great guy. I've seen him all over Port Orange and stuff like that. And I would love to have him on here to discuss that and to have you guys have a debate would be wonderful. It'd be like the Monica John debate. We're all friends. We can all hang out.
Has he responded to you?
What's that?
Has he responded to you?
We tried to get on his show, and this is a little background information, so I'll make it real quick. We tried to get him on the show, but our schedules just haven't really worked out very well. You know what I mean? And so we haven't been able to do it. I mean, I contacted him late this afternoon on his Facebook to see if we can work it out for August. And Mike, is there going to be a Wednesday show? Do you know yet?
I wish I could actually be down in Florida so I could try and get Pete Buttigieg to actually answer some questions about East Palestine, Ohio, which he has been denying any accountability for as he runs around with Democrats, isolating himself from the public so he can try and build up support to run for president, which will fail because he is a miserable politician. So screw Pete Buttigieg politically, not physically. I'm not into that. But as for myself, if people would like to hear some of my thoughts, which are obviously not left-leaning, let's say that, you can actually go to No Soundbites Allowed every Sunday for the last 9 years in a row and counting. I've been doing a Sunday live stream at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's about 5 hours of content dealing with international, local, national, all politics, and taking all questions from the public. And Wednesday, I usually do a show as well. And I think this week I'm going to do a show following up more on this Mamdani Iran connection and the fact that he's just violating a bunch of laws and lying to the public again. And this is going to be detrimental, but we'll see. I mean, there's also the fact that Lindsey Graham died. I may want to follow up a little bit on that too. And how that's going to affect the midterm election. So, yeah, probably during the midweek, I'll do something.
Maybe Thomas Massey will run.
Hey, that would be good.
That's funny. Okay, maybe. Yeah, sure, let him go for it. I need some entertainment.
How much money does Israel have, though?
It's not about Israel.
No, Thomas Massey is
just going to lose.
He doesn't take money from. Oh, you mean how much money to put up a candidate against him? Because Massey doesn't take money from Israel.
No, it's just that Massey.
I'm just surprised that Massey was so unpopular that his opponent broke records for most money ever spent in a congressional primary race. That's impressive. You gotta admit, his opponent that nobody knows made records
One.
from
Obviously,
how much money he raised. Now that is a good candidate right there. That's
Obviously-
someone I could put my Federal Reserve note behind.
Well, let me see. He obviously had to be, the guy was so unknown, he got more votes. Massey's policies were so wonderfully solid and such a staunch Republican that he lost.
He's not he's libertarian.
The problem
Remember,
was
he wasn't running as a
was
libertarian.
conservative.
He's running as a Republican. He's a piss poor Republican. He may be a great libertarian. He's a piss poor Republican, and that's why he lost. And that's why he.
Well, you know what
won't
that
win.
is, Michael? That is because on the national level, the Libertarian Party has so many problems, they can't properly fund their candidates. So they have to run, like Massey and Rand Paul have to run as Republicans. I know you know this, but they have to run as because they need the money. And that's why they have the R next to their name and not the LP. That's
That's
the
a problem
bottom
of the LP, not a problem of Republicans.
Absolutely. But it's also because Republicans and Democrats fixed the system to make it hard for any third party to actually. And
True.
we should do a show on
That
that.
is
We should-
true.
we
That
should
is
do a
true.
The Republicans, they
special
just
show on
let us in.
No.
They desire us to run for them.
Speaking of Republicans and liberty, this Friday night, and this is where we're going to end the show, folks. This Friday night, I am going to have Mike Tremont on, second or third time or something like that. He is trying to buck the system of the Republican Party. He's a part of the Republican Liberty Caucus for well over a year now. And he is throwing his hat into the ring for
Vice
the
President.
VP nominee of the Republican Party, which of course is way different than the way both major parties operate. So I am fascinated by that. I honestly have to say I focus on this show tonight, the baseball show tomorrow. I haven't really looked at what his plan is for Friday. I will know before we go live on Friday. I can guarantee
You mean
that.
Libertarian?
But Mike is a wonderful human being, and he always likes to get a huge head start in his campaigns. When he was running to be the president of nominee of the Libertarian Party, he started well before anybody else.
Oh yeah.
And he's doing that again in this situation, and in a brand new way, since this is not the way either major party picks their VP. So it'll be fun to see what his game plan is, and that'll be Friday at 7 p.m. rebroadcast on Sunday, as all these shows are. So that's where we're going to leave it for this evening, folks. I really appreciate the crew coming on board and Gabe pinch hitting. I think it was like 6:55 when I contacted Gabe. It was less than an hour to go, and I was like, I forgot Joe's not going to be on tonight. Can you pinch hit? And he came right on. I appreciate it so much, Gabe. That's awesome. And Mike and John, I appreciate you guys being here. Of course, as regulars, it is always great. And I want to thank all the chatters and thank everybody around the world who's watching for their time this time. Until next time, we will see you